The Minnesota Lynx and the New York Liberty are the two remaining undefeated teams in the WNBA, both 7-0 and in different conferences. So it makes complete sense to talk about who's been looking more dominant and who's most likely to lose a game first. Who's going to be the last undefeated team? And for me, the answer is pretty clear. The New York Liberty are looking far more dominant. I think I'm looking at their schedule and I can see how they would lose first, but overall I'm confident saying they're going to be the last undefeated team on the schedule. Real quick, here are the next 5 opponents for the Lynx: the Mercury, the Wings, the Storm, the Sparks, the Aces. So you have the Aces at the end, the 5th game, that's a strong team. Storm in the middle, third, that's a decent team. But then you have the Sparks, the Mercury, and the Wings. So it's a pretty easy schedule for the next 4 games. That's the only reason why the Liberty might lose first, because when I look at their first 4, you got the Mystics, that's easy. Sky, easy. Oh. But then you got the Fever, and Caitlin Clark should probably be back by then.
Be back, yeah.
And then the Atlanta Dream, who are, I think, 6-2 right now, really surprising a lot of people with how many wins they've racked up. So the 3rd and 4th game for the Liberty are much harder than they are for the Lynx. If they win these 4, their 5th game is the Mercury. That's a gimme, I think, for them. So, actually, I'm going to change my answer right now. I'm thinking about it. Even though the Liberty are better, they're probably going to lose first, because in that 3rd or 4th game, I think they're going to drop one of them. So they're going to go 10-0 or 9-0. Whereas the Lynx, honestly, they have no excuse not to get all the way to the Aces. And then with the Aces, of course, a loss is completely understandable. And you know what? I'm not going to keep yapping too long. I have my reasons for why the Liberty are better. I'll get into them a little bit. But Omair, let's just answer the first fundamental question. Who do you think's been looking more dominant? And relatedly, who is going to lose a game first?
Wow, you're being courteous. This must be a special day today.
Well, I'm going to beat up on you with logic, so I thought I'd be classy in how I did it.
All right, Urkel. Anyways, so for me, I think the Lynx are the better team. So my answers for both are simple. I think the Lynx are the better team, and they're not gonna be the first to lose their streak. You did a great job of outlining the next few opponents. I definitely agree that the Lynx have an easier time than the Liberty. I think the Mercury game, I think you're not giving as much credit as the Mercury against the Liberty, right?
Well, both. Lynx are playing against the Mercury next game. Yeah, so if you're about to justify the Mercury.
No, I'm just saying the Lynx versus Mercury game, you should expect that to be close.
Oh, okay.
The Mercury have been playing well. I think 2nd in the West.
They're fraudulent, though.
No, I don't think it's fraudulent at all. I think they've been playing well behind the great play of Satu Saballer. She's doing really great things for that team. Overall, I like what they've been doing. So they're not anything to sneeze at. So even though I think the Lynx will overcome that adversary, that's gonna be a tough opponent. Maybe arguably tougher than the Aces. I don't know.
Bro, what?
I don't know.
And you call yourself an Aces fan?
I am an Aces fan, but they have been looking great so far. So that's what it is. When you are a fan of your team, you can't just be wearing the rose-colored glasses. You gotta take the glasses off sometimes. You wouldn't know what that's like. So I just think the Lynx are the better team. I'm really liking what I'm seeing from Fee. I think she's an MVP candidate for a reason. I think it's well deserved. I think she's doing everything for this team: the leadership, the defense, the rebounding, the scoring. She's got it all. But the cast around her is nothing to sneeze at. I think most people agree the weakest links, are Courtney Williams.
You're laughing at your own joke.
It's funny. Okay, Courtney Williams, because her on the defense, she is a defensive liability, even though I think she's an offensive stud. And then her name not coming to mind.
Alana Smith.
Alana Smith. My bad. Alana Smith. Obviously, the most recent game she did straight cardio. So I think I was really coming at Alana Smith and if Fee play like she's been playing like an MVP candidate, and then Alana Smith gets it together and starts putting contributions on the board, I think the Lynx can take these games. The rest these next 4 or 5 games, they got it in the bag. And then on the New Liberty side, they're a great team. Obviously, I'm not denying that. But just for me, I take Fee over Jail Ball Jones, for example. And then Stewie, I think she's getting older. She's not the same player she once was. And then finally, Sabrina Ionescu, I think with her shooting, she is a fantastic shooter. With the nature of the beast is that it's more
like high variance?
Yeah, more high variance.
So you could lose a game.
Yeah, so you can Ionescu, the 3 balls not falling. Okay, so now they can lock her up, so she's not getting inlet passes to Jail Ball Jones. Let's say her post. I take Fee's post game over Jail Ball Jones, for example. So if Jones is not getting those inlet passes from Ionescu, if Stewie's having a bad game, I can see all these things happening for the reasons I've mentioned. I see the Lynx winning the next 4 or 5 games, the Liberty dropping 1 or 2, and the Lynx remaining undefeated because they're the better team.
Okay, you've made some points of all time, and you've really convinced me. I'm back to the Liberty being the last undefeated team. You were so wrong that I was like, if I'm on the same side as him, it's definitely got to be. I'm not cooking.
That's
and here's why. I think the Lynx are going to lose to the Storm. The Storm are a consistently slept-on team. Casuals do not really rate them like that. They're pretty equal to the Fever, so they're both the third matchup for both these teams. And I think the Lynx are going to fall. And even if the Liberty fall, I hope that game is scheduled at a later time. But I'm going to give them more of a chance to overcome the Fever. So my final answer is I always thought the Liberty were the better team and looking more dominant. But they're also going to be undefeated the longest. And to get into some of the reasons why, you're talking about the supporting cast for Fee. No. To me, it's pretty obvious that the starting five for the New York Liberty are heads and shoulders better than the starting five for any other team, including the Minnesota Lynx.
I think the Lynx give a run for the money. Kayla McBride, don't sleep on her.
The thing for the Lynx is that they have a bench. New York does not have a bench. They've been struggling, with that thing for a couple of years, and then they lost Courtney. Culture. They lost Courtney. Yeah, exactly. You look at the Knicks. They lost Courtney Vandersloot. She went to a different team. I think it's the Chicago Sky, right? And then Betnija, she's injured for the whole season. Maybe I'm saying that wrong. Lainey Hamilton. I'll just call her Lainey. She's injured for the whole season. So you have Leone. She's moved into the starting lineup, and she's elite. But that was one of the whole advantages of your team. You had a starter-level player coming off the bench. Oh. So, but even with that, I look at Stewie, I look at Jonquel, I look at Sabrina, and I look at Leone. I would take all four of these players over the second best player on the Minnesota Lynx. Whether you want to call that Bridget Carlton or Kayla McBride, I'm taking all four over them, and that's the big issue. And for me, I'm not like these MVP voters who got the voter fatigue. I'm not like you. Stewie is getting older, but I'm taking Stewie over Fee. I'm taking Stewie over Aja. So for me,
what? Stewie over both them? Stewie's not even a legitimate MVP candidate.
The only reason she's not a legitimate MVP,
playing better than Stewie.
Well, because she doesn't have to try as hard in the regular season. Okay, but she's still a defensive engine. She's still doing everything right. She's just not taking as many shots as she has before. She's not putting up sicko monster nights like she was before. But I think she's still an amazing player, and I'm taking the Liberty starting five over the Lynx. Now, in the regular season, that's the thing. Your bench can get you some wins. Just like it happened versus the Valkyrie, right? It helped them to have a good bench versus the Valkyrie's trash bench. But especially when I think about the playoffs, man, the Liberty, they're looking so dominant, so strong. Their only weakness right now is Natasha Cloud, and she is not bad by any measure, but she's not one of the top 2 or 3 guards in the league. I think, Kelsey Plum is better than her. I think Caitlin Clark is better than her. I think Sabrina is better than her. I think the starting guards on the Las Vegas Aces, Chelsea Gray and Jackie Young, are both better than her. So these are 5-6 guards I can list off that are better than Natasha Cloud. We'll have to see how she does in the playoffs because guards like Jackie Young, I don't really trust them. Natasha, when she was on the Phoenix Mercury, she obviously wasn't making the playoffs. So I don't know how she's like in that environment. I've always thought she's a great passer of the ball, decent defender, decent scorer. So I want to see what she can do in the playoffs before I make my final judgments on her. But that's why, to me, this is an obvious answer. The New York Liberty are just the better team. Sorry. Not sorry.
Very New Yorker of you.
All I know is people on Twitter were saying New York hasn't won a chip in like 20, 25 years in any sport. And they forgot about the New York Liberty.
Disrespectful.
So you got to put some respect on this team, man.